Hello, 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 Fed Phoenix fan. So, I have been asked by many people, was there anybody I was incarcerated with that I was maybe having a little crushy crush on? And keep in mind, I'm not into women, you know what I mean? But we are human, and you know, I have a type. So there were actually two, and I'm gonna tell you all about it. So grab your popcorn, sip your tea, because we're gonna get messy. All right. So when I first got to Alderson, I was in a quarantine unit. This was at the height of COVID. And so they had a quarantine unit for people coming into the prison to keep them away from everyone else in case they had COVID. They also had a COVID positive unit. And then one of the units is RDAP. So out of the 8 units, only 5 were just normal general population. So I was in the quarantine unit for months, which is bananas, but this is the hot mess that it was at that time. So we were in the quarantine unit for quite a while, and then we got moved. The quarantine unit got moved to a different unit because one of the GP units, the regular population units, the majority of the people in that unit had actually tested positive for COVID, and the majority of them needed to be put in the COVID positive unit. And the ones that weren't, obviously, weren't going to be put with the quarantine people. So they were shuffled to other units, and we were moved downstairs. And then, which is crazy, you're moving, and the unit was filthy, disgusting. Probably because most of the previous tenants were, inhabitants were sick and could probably barely take care of themselves, let alone their cubes. So you're taking a bunch of quarantine people, and moving them into a unit that has been in no way clean or disinfected, that was, overpopulated with COVID positive cases, minutes before we moved in. And then after that, we got actually, they started sorting us out a bit and putting us actually in the units we should have been in, and outside of COVID conditions would have initially been put in to begin with. So when I got in this third housing unit, there was a person in this unit. And oh my, this person had a kind of deep voice, very masculine, and was the best and worst of the things that I tend to find myself being attracted to. The best being, alpha personality, neck tattoos, obviously taller than me. That's a big one for me. Great teeth. The worst being this is a person who habitually, clearly has a very established pattern of making horrible decisions in their life, particularly professionally. And clearly there's no end in sight to this ever changing. I later found out this person had a significant other, so, that's where that kind of ended. However, initially, before I knew that, I had told a couple of the other inmates, that I had bonded with, that I knew. I was like, oh my gosh, have you seen this person was named after they were known as a city. So I'm not going to say the actual city they were named after. So I'm just going to throw in a random city. We'll say, I don't want to use a city name that someone else was called. People think I'm using the wrong name. We'll say Las Vegas. But yeah, have you seen Las Vegas? Oh, with the neck tats and the man voice, and oh my goodness. And then within, hours, I was informed, Las Vegas has a significant other, right, who's not only exists and is in this prison with us, but is also very territorial and a bit batshit. So even though Las Vegas habitually cheats on this person, which I also found out, it's just a messy situation you don't want to, in any way, shape, or form, get tied up in. So that was that. Then there was another person who, gold teeth, from the South. I'm not going to say where. Um, hmm. and reminded me a lot of one of my favorite rappers in the early 90s. Yeah. And I don't think that this second person was taller than me, maybe by an inch, but if that, or was probably my height. And did not have a masculine voice, but had a very, both these people very charismatic, great personalities, easy to get along with. And the second person had like this kind of like this mystique. And I used to have dreams. And of course, the second person was not officially well known to have been tied to any particular individual. Um, but certainly was, real friendly, with a couple people over the course of the time that we lived in the same unit, which was about a year. Um, but yeah, so the second person who, uh, mm, but I would have dreams, right? That I'm in my cube and the person comes into my cube and I in the middle of the night, and I don't want to get too graphic for the sake of, who knows who's actually going to see this. And some things begin to go down, but then in the dream I discover this person is also a woman like me. And that's where it went from a dream to yikes nightmare for me, because I'm just not attracted to that. In fact, I'm mildly repulsed at the thought of other women's parts. Although I can respect and applaud some decent tatas and booty because I'm a mammal. I think that's a strictly mammal thing, not so much a personal preference thing. But yeah, so the first person, I don't know where they ended up in life. I can only imagine. But the second person is out of prison, is we are associated on social medias, and is working on their music career, I believe. And so, fully support that, support small business. But definitely, I had me a couple of crushes while I was incarcerated, and nothing came of either of them, for a variety of factors. The largest for me not pursuing either person was, I mean, one, I wasn't either of their types. That was very obvious. And two, they were women. And that just doesn't really jive for me. That kind of, ruins it. Um, so yeah, but I definitely I'm grown, and I can admit, I had a couple of prison crushes. And there were definitely a lot of attractive people in federal prison camp, and there were a lot of people who had, professional plastic surgeries done. Some were scary from it, some were, very attractive. And there were a lot of naturally attractive people. And of course, this is solely the physical, personality wise. There were a few people that I guess you could say, I didn't, I'm not gonna say was attracted to or had a crush on, but but people that I just really liked being around them because, their character and their personality was just really magnetic, and I found them to be, really good people. Um, but yeah, so that's the lowdown on two of my boos that were never really my boos, that would never be my boo in prison or the free world, but in a small, very physical way, for a matter of seconds, many times over, in my mind, was my boo. So, and if you are either of those parties, I'm sure you know exactly who you are and you're seeing this. I wish you well. And if you're the second one, like I said, we need to network. Let's do some cross promotion, me and you. But yeah, it was shocking to me because in the free world, I don't think I've ever had a lady crush. I've known lots of very masculine women who are into women even, but I've never like had like that kind of like butterfly in the stomach, kind of you're nervous around them, kind of like, oh my, But I think a lot of that too is once you've been away from society for over a year and you've had no physical contact other than maybe someone occasionally washing your hair or putting in braids or, blowing it out for you or flat ironing it. Um, the very natural instinctive part of you that wants human contact. Um, it really kind of gets magnified. So, but anyway, I'm like Usher today. These are my confessions. Just when I thought I said all I can say, my prison crush has a boo and three on the way. When the next plane lands, Con Ed. Or con, what did they call it? Con Air. Yeah, it was kind of a term that was used referring to the flights that would come in, in the area where, federal prison inmates would come in planes, transport, and we would get like just a whole bunch, a dozen, maybe a couple dozen new inmates all at once, and they came in on Con Air. But I digress. You guys know me. But yeah, so that's my prison crushes. So take of it what you will. So, and as always, good day, God bless. Whatever you're going through, it is just a slice of your life, and you will get through it because you have to. And in the description will be my um, Cash App and PayPal if you'd like to donate to the channel. Additionally, there will also be a link to the Fed Phoenix merch line. Fed Phoenix fam, that's you. And a little brief description of the Fed Phoenix mission or brand, for lack of a better term. And yeah, and my email if you need to get a hold of me for any reason. So if you like the video, like the video. If you'd like to see more content, please hit notifications, preferably all. If you hit customize, a lot of times in the YouTube algorithm, you will just miss out on stuff. And I think there would definitely be some gems as time goes on. So, anywho, have a good day, and we're gonna get through this, Fed Phoenix fam, because we have to, and it is a slice of our life. Bye.